Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is about Delta Airlines and an alert that I'm putting out for them because of Boeing. Again, Delta Airlines. This video today is about QA expert Daryl Guberman alerts Delta and passengers about being an FAA regulator from 2009 to present. I know it's very difficult for you to understand this, but actually it goes back to 2002 when Boeing released its quality inspection to their accreditation body, ANSI-ANAB, the American National Standards Institute, and the American National Accreditation Board, where they said basically in this, and you're going to see it firsthand, they say it in this supplier notification that if you have an AS9100 certificate, of course, accredited by ANSI-ANAB, they didn't specifically say them, but ANSI, they sit on the board. Boeing sits on the board of ANSI-ANAB. And they sit on ANAB's board that can grant, suspend, or withdraw certification at that time. And also, they sat on the management board that has say in the function of the company. Basically, what Boeing said in 2002 is you hand us your quality certificate, you make your parts, we check off the box in purchasing, and you send your part in there, flight safety, whatever it takes, and we'll put it on the plane. It's absolutely disgusting. So I am putting this out as a warning, as an alert to, again, QA expert Daryl Guberman alerts Delta and passengers about Boeing being FAA regulator from 2009 to present. A famous individual, Thomas Paine, said when speaking the truth, it is many times like administering medication to the dead. A.A. Milne, who wrote Winnie the Pooh, a children's book, said, "It is easier to believe a lie that one has heard 1,000 times than to believe a fact no one has heard before." And one of my favorite, most recently I found, is from David Foster Wallace. And this is true, Mr. Calhoun, who's a CEO of Boeing, who was on board in 2009 when the FAA self-certified some of the employees to have FAA regulatory authority. So Boeing is the FAA, a representative of the FAA equivalent to the FAA. In 2009, you'll see that too. You have Lieutenant General Donald E. Kirkland, or Kirkland Donald. Thank you for your service. He's the comprehensive quality reviewer of the 737. And he needs a team. And the team they're going to pick are a team of yes men, nodding their head, and that's it. But we're going to continue on. And here it is. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation that has both federal agencies and corporations on board. I'm not going to go into all of this, but I need to briefly brief you on this, Delta, and its employees and management, and also the passengers that fly these planes. You also have this. In 2015, Randy Doherty, the vice president of ANAB, the chairman of the IF, and also he was a principal in the IF tax form. That means he had complete control of it. He handed over leadership to his communist Chinese national Zhao Jinwu, who's been involved with our quality for 30 years, since 1994. He is also mandated by his country of origin, Communist China, to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. At the time, he was also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services, which is equivalent in accreditation to ANSI-ANAB, you will discover. That means also that ANSI-ANAB are underwriters for the International Accreditation Form, which is a repository for both national and international accreditation bodies. ANSI-ANAB are underwriters for the IAF, which is incorporated in Delaware, and also they're underwriters for the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation in Australia. You have them standing there in 2017 in the Wuhan lab that released the virus. And they must have released it because Pamela Sale, the vice president of ANSI-ANAB and ASCLD for laboratory accreditation, stated under deposition in Texas that from one laboratory to another, there are variances. They lack protocol, and I have that document. Continuing on, ANAB sits on ANSI's board. In 2018, ANSI took over complete control over ANAB, and between 2015 and 21, ANSI and ANAB sat on the communist-run IAF incorporated in Delaware. Here it is, ANSI and ANAB. One of the worst things is you'll discover, and this does not go to the people of Iran or Pakistan, but the politicians. Pakistan, who harbored Osama bin Laden. Then you have this guy over here, Khomeini, I think his name is. He says debt to the United States. But they also are financing Hamas. So can we say by affiliation that all of ANSI, ANAB, and their board of directors and all that are enjoying the factor about Hamas, about all this mess that's happening in the Middle East? They must be. They might be certifying the bullets, who knows? Also, sitting on ANSI's board are 7 different registrars, one in which Spirit Aerosystem uses, Intertek. Okay, there they are, Intertek, of course. And they are using the ANAB logo. They are using the ANAB logo on their certificate. Is there any, how should we say, impartiality that they always say that they have? Absolutely not. Now we're going to go on to Boeing. Boeing. And this is for you, Delta. Delta. This is for you. Boeing sits right over by the accreditation body that you're going to find out in a little while that on their supplier portal, that's who they call. ANSI, ANAB, or internationally equivalent. And you know who the internationally equivalent can be? They're going to deny it. But they are equivalent in accreditation to ANSI, ANAB. Yes, Iran and Pakistan. In 2002, Boeing gave full quality authority to their suppliers, meaning they said this, and they have the word survey, it's actually audit. On-site Boeing audit of the supplier's quality system if need be. Our preference is to deal with a proven suppliers with excellent quality performance and not have to do on-site quality system surveys, which means audits. So what they basically did, let me break that down for you. They basically said, if you are AS9100 from ANSI ANAB accreditation, you'll see that, as I said, on their portal, or internationally equivalent, send us your piece of paper. Send us a certificate, AS9100, which is for aerospace. It is the ISO standard for aerospace throughout the world. Send us your paperwork. Build your part, send that, we'll put it on the plane, and we don't have to send inspection out to your facility to do a source inspector. Isn't that nice? Continue on, this is where it gets a little bit sticky, and I have the audio file from Mr. David Calhoun, who says our regulator, the FAA. Well, listen, this shows you in 2009 that the FAA gave priority and authorization to Boeing to be the FAA. And here it goes. The FAA increased the authority of Boeing's commercial airplane division to self-certify its own aircraft. Boeing employs to perform tasks on behalf of the FAA that include oversight of testing and product standards, along with certification of aircraft technologies and new aircraft design. So let me just continue on and show you this. Here is right off their website. It says must be ANSI, ANAB, or internationally equivalent for their accreditation. Okay, and at the time they said this, and they were in, it's the IAF was controlled by Communist China. This is still up there, by the way. But what they do is they were so proud of their quality that it still says ANSI ASQ, National Accrediting Board, ANAB. ASQ is the American Society for Quality, which also sits on ANSI's board. It turned into, it was in 2018 that they changed. So for 6 years, they have not changed their website. They care about their quality by the reflection of the lackadaisicalness on upgrading their website. This is the way it should have read starting in 2018. Also for you, Delta, this is a bad one because they fudge documentation going into your planes. Fudging documentation. What is that telling you about the quality? What is that calling you about the ethical and the quality of the aircraft? On top of it, make matters worse, this has been pervasive through our Boeing. Most recently, a V-22 Osprey, a Bell Boeing or Boeing Bell V-22 Osprey went down killing some soldiers. And for their families, my heart goes out to you. But let me just say this. In their composite facility, Bell Boeing composite facility, I'm a composite expert in quality when it comes to the part manufacture. Okay, with composites, you have fiberglass impregnated with a resin. They have layers and layers on top of each other, giving you structural strength. Okay, it's time and temperature and pressure that makes those fabric turn into one solid part. If you have interstitial, which is bubbles in between the fabric, if you have bubbles because of lack of pressure or lack of temperature and all the rest of that mess, mostly temperature and pressure, if you have interstitial bubbles and you have vibratory stresses, whether on a helicopter part, on the V-22, the Osprey, or airliner, boom, you'll have a disbond. You also have the FAA sitting on board. Now, I want you to listen to Mr. David Calhoun, who gave an interview right after the Alaskan Air issue. And I want you to listen to this and listen good. Because remember, I showed you that Boeing is the FAA. And they've been giving authority, and as far as I know, it was never taken back. And here it is. And you can see with their quality, it was never taken back.
Speculate. But I will say this, the work that our regulator, in this case the FAA, has been doing to inspect the situation and create a procedure and a protocol for the airlines to go out and inspect each and every one of the airplanes, 100% of them, and make certain that the work that our regulator, in this case the FAA, has been doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, business owners and Delta Airlines, both management and personnel, and those that fly on Delta, you have the situation that most recently they said that the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board, which is part of the Department of Transportation, are investigating Boeing. You find anything wrong with this? They sit by Boeing on ANSI. Wake up, ladies and gentlemen, especially those that are flying. If I was Delta's management, if you bought aircraft between 2002 and present, I would go back to Boeing and start squawking. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS, @yahoo.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And remember what David Foster Wallace said. The truth will set you free, but not until it is finished with you. Thank you.